global breakdown that had reached staggering proportions. Nearly 13% of the world's container shipping fleet was floating off ports from China to North America to Europe. Upward of $1 trillion worth of product was caught in the congestion. All of this stuff was supposed to be somewhere else. But the docks were overwhelmed by an unprecedented influx of containers as Americans stuck in quarantine outfitted themselves for the apocalypse, filling their basements with exercise bikes, their bedrooms with office furniture, and their kitchens with baking equipment. Most of these goods were manufactured in Asia. The trucking industry complained that it could not hire enough drivers to move this tsunami of product. Warehouses were stuffed to the rafters and short of workers. The railroads, hollowed out by years of corporate cost-cutting, were buckling in the face of a surge of demand. So, tens of thousands of containers sat stacked at the ports, waiting for someone to haul them to their next destination. Out on the water, miles from shore, ships lay at anchor, their listless crews wondering when they would next encounter land. Here was the central explanation for why Americans suddenly found themselves unable to buy everything from medical devices and hand sanitizer to toothpaste and smartphones. The scene off Southern California was the reason that carpenters could not find wood, why families painting homes were settling for whatever color was available, and why hospitals were substituting subpar medicines for the ones they could not procure. For decades, the world had seemed compressed and tamed, the continents bridged by container ships, internet links, and exuberant faith in globalization. Now the earth again felt vast and full of mystery. In the center of the pileup off Long Beach lay the Maersk Emden, a Danish-flagged container ship that stretched 1,200 feet long and 158 feet wide, making it more than 5 times the size of New York's Grand Central Station. Freshly arrived from the Chinese port of Ningbo, it was carrying roughly 12,000 containers. That haul included 474 containers for LG, the South Korean home appliance brand, and 74 boxes full of Nike products. Mattel and Hasbro, 2 giant toy companies, were collectively waiting for 160 boxes aboard the Emden. And just as the weather was turning cold in North America, 48 containers shipped by Burlington Coat Factory were stranded atop the ship. Hagen Walker had only 1 box on board the Maersk Emden, a 40-foot container logged in the shipping manifest as MSMU 8771295. But it held the most important order in the brief history of his startup. Walker's company, Glow, was based in a small town in Mississippi. It made plastic novelty cubes that lit up when plunked in water. He had recently secured a breakthrough deal, a contract to make bath toys for Sesame Street, including a figurine version of the iconic Elmo. He had planned to debut them during the pivotal holiday season, now only 2 months away. Like millions of companies, Walker's operation depended on 2 key elements: factories in China to make its products, and gigantic container ships to carry them to American shores. For decades, this had proven a cheap and reliable way to do business, the means by which major brands and niche players alike had kept the world's largest economy stocked with everything from oven cleaner to aircraft parts. But that equation was unraveling. Walker's year had been dominated by logistical torment. Chinese factories were short of workers and raw materials, yielding alarming delays. The shipping industry was deluged. Trying to book cargo space on a container had become next to impossible. The cost of transporting goods across the Pacific had multiplied tenfold. In the middle of it all, on March 23, 2021, like a farce engineered by the heavens, a behemoth container ship had gotten lodged inside the Suez Canal in Egypt. Traffic through the canal came to a stop, halting a huge volume of goods moving from Asia to Europe. For months afterward, factories around the globe waited for shipments of parts and raw materials, impeding their production and threatening the livelihoods of their workers. Walker had managed to navigate this shifting assortment of threats. Yet now, in the fall of 2021, he found himself confronting the most frustrating ordeal yet.